Every kid played with Hot Wheels growing up. It's a pretty iconic kids' toy line with the different cars to collect and the tracks you can build. However, Milestone SRL, which has a track record for racing games, made Hot Wheels Unleashed. This game is all about racing around in different iconic and rad cars. Likewise, players can even build up their custom orange track, which you can share with others online. While Nintendo had Mario Kart, there was a comparable kart racer that Sony had to compete with. Crash Bandicoot was the mascot for Sony, so it was only natural that a kart racer was put out for Sony fans featured the beloved Orange Bandicoot. Years later, we got a remaster of Crash Team Racing, which features the same overall experience with players having an assortment of characters from the Crash Bandicoot series, while racing through a series of courses while using both power-ups will either help boost you along or take out competitive racers. It might not beat out Mario Kart, but it's a fun alternative. The Burnout series has been a popular video game racing franchise for several console generations now. Originally, Burnout Paradise was released in 2008 that featured an open world, several different types of races, and select game modes. We recently saw a remastered edition released for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Within the remastered edition of the game, players will receive most of the DLC packs besides the Time Savers pack, 60 frames per second support, along with support for higher resolution monitors. Developers Aquarius Game Studio developed Horizon Chase Turbo to mimic the old retro racing titles from the late 1980s and early 1990s. The video game is all about speeding through a series of tracks. This is one title that's worth getting a few friends together and race against one another on the couch. Visually, the game also appears to be similar to the retro and highly popular arcade title, Cruise World. As such, expect blazing fast speeds, tracks all over the world, and a plethora of muscle cars to choose from. Race the Sun is an endless runner-type racing game. Players take control of a solar-powered spaceship where the end goal is to see just how far you can take the ship. First, of course, there are various objects and hostile laser beams to avoid. Otherwise, you'll end up destroying your ship. Luckily, the ship can remain at a constant speed, so you won't have to worry about speed-ups. But with that said, since the ship is powered by the sun's light, if a player drops into the shadows, the ship will drastically lose speed. Outside of the main game, players will have a few different game modes to go through that alters game mechanics, such as navigating your ship through a maze-style obstacle course. Absolute Drift is all about drifting your car around a series of objects or tracks. This is a simplistic style racing game that is played in a top-down view as players will drift through a track in the shortest amount of time possible. There's not much to this game that makes it easy for anyone to pick up and play. With a total of 6 cars, players will be able to drift through over 30 different levels. Of course, if you would like to tune your skills finely, there are free roam areas where you can practice drifting the different vehicles. Zen Edition of the game is a free update that has added new challenges and events. There is also an included online leaderboard for those of you who also enjoy a good competitive race with friends. Driveclub Bikes can be an expansion for Driveclub or as a standalone video game. The title comes from developers' evolution, in which the car's Driveclub is known for has been replaced with bikes. With these superbikes from companies such as Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Honda, players will be able to race at intense speeds in over 70 different locations. This game is filled with tours along with events for both single-player and multiplayer. Speaking of events, players can even create their events while tweaking the race day conditions. The fifth game within the Trials franchise, and the follow-up to Trials Evolution, comes to Trials Fusion. If you've never played a Trials game, the title is more of a platform racer. Players control a biker who makes his way through various courses and obstacles, though getting through courses is easier said than done because of the physics within the game. Regardless of its difficulty, Trials Fusion remains to be a fantastic platformer. Since its release, Ubisoft has provided 6 DLC packs along with free content downloads. Need for Speed Rivals was released in 2013 as the 20th installment to the Need for Speed series. The video game follows 2 different paths in which the player can take on the role of a racer or a police officer. Each has its own style of progression and features that players can attempt to unlock, such as EMPs, spike stripes, or roadblocks. There is also an open-world environment aspect for players to explore and race at different events. All Drive was also introduced in the video game as a new social system where players could experience a more seamless transition from single-player to multiplayer.
The second 1044 is just outside my perimeter. Dispatch, I'm 1123.
If you're a fan of fast-paced racing titles such as F-Zero and Wipeout, then you'll want to check out Redout. Created by 34 Big Things SRL, the developers have crafted Redout to be a tribute to the old racing monster titles that were a fast-paced but a tough and fun experience. While we don't think this title beats Wipeout, it's still a solid racing game worth checking out. Much like the previous installments to Trackmania, Trackmania Turbo features over-the-top arcade racetracks with high speeds and a focus of stunts. While the video game features over 200 different tracks in 4 different locations, a track editor was included to allow players to create their very own unique tracks that can later be shared online with the gaming community. SnowRunner isn't exactly a racing game, but it's a vehicle-based game that I think you might want to check out. This game is all about off-road driving. You complete a series of tasks such as picking up and dropping the cargo. There are also stuck tools that may need to be removed with a winch. Overall, a very relaxing game. You can easily turn on some music or a favorite podcast and start operating the heavy-duty trucks. Of course, you'll want to make sure that the vehicle you're on can handle the task assigned to you. Gran Turismo Sport is the 13th video game installment in the Gran Turismo series. Series creator Kazunori Yamauchi describes the video game as the first title in the new era of Gran Turismo games. You will find that the game includes 3 main game modes, a campaign, sports mode, and arcade mode. You can also race Gran Turismo Sport both online and offline, as in previous installments of the series, although it will lack the dynamic weather and day-night cycle. One of the most notable features around Gran Turismo Sport was using the PlayStation VR headset. While the game was originally announced to be fully compatible with a VR headset, the development team later warned fans that VR support would be limited to a dedicated VR tour mode. When it comes to racing games, there are two subgenres. First, you have your arcade-style titles that are easy to pick up and play. However, more simulation title racers offer a more realistic approach. Dirt Rally 2.0 is part of the latter, with players getting a real simulation-heavy racing title. This is a game that offers a wide range of rally cars, stages, and modes aimed at those who generally love rally racing. In addition, you're going to find the ability to make tweaks to your car, manage your crew, and race to phase mostly the time rather than other racers. Codemasters have been around for some time now, and they have proven to be a great development studio for racing titles, and it shows in this game. Developed by Kuno's Simulazioni, Assetto Corsa is a simulation racing game with an emphasis on maintaining a realistic experience. Players will race on various tracks with an excellent selection of racing cars. This is another simulation-based racing game, so you can expect detailed physics from handling a vehicle to tire pulling on a track. Additionally, the video game was bolstered by several free content updates post-launch that help bring new vehicles and tracks. If you want to enjoy a more simulation approach to a racing game, then Assetto Corsa is worth checking out. Sprint Vector may be the next title worth picking up if you enjoy arcade competitive racing games. This is a racing-style video game, but with skates instead of vehicles. Players will be skating through courses while facing several AI opponents or other players worldwide. Of course, depending on the mode will determine just who you'll be racing against. Being a VR title, the immersion for Sprint Vector will take you to intense tracks, though luckily, if you're trailing behind, you can grab a power-up to use against your opponents, much like the Mario Kart franchise.
The crowd does love this season's new arena tracks, and they aren't alone.
I'd love them more with a few contestants caught in them. I guess streams really do.
When it comes to racing games, you have to determine what style of racing you want to do, what cars to put in, and so on and so forth. But with Grid Legends, it's a bit of a different, because here, while there are plenty of cars for you to use in the races, you yourself will get to determine the kind of races that you do. No, really, you or other players will get to battle in events that you yourself create. You can make them battles of speed, or you can make it absolutely chaotic and ensure that there are plenty of crashes. Project Cars 2 first hit the market in 2017 thanks to development team Slightly Mad Studios. The video game soon rivaled other long-running realistic racing games, as Project Cars 2 came with over 70 drivable cars, 30 unique locations, and more than 100 different tracks. This is a nice upgrade over the first game in the series. Need for Speed from 2015 was touted as a franchise reboot, and players were expecting it to be the Need for Speed Underground 3 that we never got. This game is a mixed bag with some high and low moments. The environments, graphics, and cosmetic upgrades are some of the best you can find in a racing game of this generation. Maps are big and diverse, they offer a seamless transition from highways to mountains, and you'll constantly be discovering new locations as you drive across the map. The game does have some iffy car handling mechanics, and police never really seem like a threat. The car list also leaves something to be desired, but this is a pretty good game that offers fantastic customization options for your favorite cars. The sixth title to release from the Dirt series is full of fast and thrilling gameplay. Focused mainly on rallying, players will find tarmac and off-road races, various weather conditions, and rally stages that span from Fitzroy in Australia, Tarragona in Spain, Michigan in the United States, and Värmland in Sweden, and Powys in Wales.
And right 680, caution right 660, turn open hairpin left.
Wipeout Omega Collection is a remastered release that contains both Wipeout HD and Wipeout 2048. This futuristic racing title is similar to the F-Zero franchise, where gamers will be racing in hovering jet-type vehicles through a series of tracks. Both titles will run in 60 frames per second in HD or Ultra HD, depending on whether players enjoy the video game on the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 4 Pro. It doesn't take very much to describe Rocket League. The game quickly exploded in popularity when it launched back in 2015, and its popularity still holds firm to this day. Essentially, Rocket League is a soccer title though played with fast vehicles that can launch into the air to either block or knock the ball into a goal post.
Into right 5 times 2, into left 5 continues for 80.
Dirt Rally is developers Codemasters' overall revised installment to the Rally series. Essentially, Dirt Rally morphed from the Colin McRae Rally series, which first came out in 1998. Within the game, players will race in various off-road terrain tracks on tracks set all over the world. Likewise, select tracks may have multiple weather conditions that could alter the overall feel of the vehicle you're racing with. There's a total of 70 different cars to choose from and over 30 stages.
Caution left 5 long, don't cut, keep mid over crest arrows, 60. Right 6 half long, left 680, keep left past junction.
If you're a fan of the F1 season, you'll love every race that happens and enjoy the incredible speed of the cars. Now you can enjoy the current season in F1 2022 and be a part of racing in your own way. Join the whole season and go to all the places where the original races took place. In each race, improve your car to be better in the next race and challenge your friends or other online racers to test yourself more. Every race counts in F1 2022, so don't miss your chance to win. If there's one word to describe the latest GT game, it's flashy. The Real Racing Simulator has taken things a step further with this long-awaited release, bringing with it the same heart-pounding challenges that fans have grown to love. The sound design steals the show, as the bass of the highway is offset only by the soft rattling of an engine and cooldown at the end of each race. If you like cars, point is, there is no reason not to own this game.